Welcome to another Figure Fiend video. Now let's get right to it. To update everyone, in the earliest video I put up something that showed the Acroyear that was in development. So this was the early model, the detailed model. And now I'm at a point that finally I have a much more detailed sculpt printed out that's at the size I want. So what I'll be doing next is moving on to color, and then photography, and then finally the packaging illustration. I also did some work on the Pharoid. So he's really early on at this stage, just getting the right number of components, making sure they fit the body at its current size, and then my next update will show the completed model pieces ran and maybe some color updates. Shogun Warrior development. For these guys, I'll start off by usually doing a suit design first, and then these get passed over to Amber. That starts the sewing pass. While she's doing the sewing, I do a lot of the base construction drawings on what types of pieces are going to be needed and how they fit onto the bodies. Once I have that down and printed my first model test, I can then play around the scale of a lot of these pieces, which is normally never exactly 100% right the first time I run it through. Like with the Mazinga, I went through and I thickened a lot of the surfaces, added more missiles, widened the actual launch on his hand. With Dragun, I scaled up the axe. I added additional components to the star launcher, such as like a piece that looks like it's launching. As you can see here, I scaled up the overall gauntlet and the shoulder pads, and then I angled some of the pieces back on the head. Now next I moved into the photography stages for these guys, and my basic setup is just a single white piece of poster board to get sort of what's close to a product shot. I want a nice clean white background, and I basically set up 2 lamps on either side, cover them in tissue paper, architecture lamps. That's basically it. I then moved on to the actual photos for the package themselves. These, I wanted the poses and angles to be very much in tune with the original box designs. Those box designs had really powerful poses, and I thought that the use of smoke in the background was really cool. So setting up those shots and then looking at the original boxes, doing some color matching. These were done in Procreate as well. These were my basic roughs once I had the photos down, and then after that I was able to build the mechanical version of the package image in Photoshop and do all the layering and typeset. I did have to replace the actual windowed images with my own figures just because they would not match the Shogun Warriors, and I wanted that to be sort of consistent in the package itself. Now we'll move on to the Mego-style Micronaut development. For these, I wanted to do aliens. I wanted to do some of the basic characters. As you can see, this is the sketch of Kronos, just outlining the kind of components needed and where the contact points would be. He was definitely far more difficult than some of the other figures I'd done, just because of the unique mechanical aspects that had to do, like the claws that had to fit into these unique pins that acted as gauntlets, wings that had to be supported on the back and not only just snap onto the back but actually move. Once I did several tests with this and got the weight down and got the joints down so that they actually connect and move, I was able to do a final version of him, paint him, and then photograph him. So I could use this for packaging or anything else. The member suit was done by Amber, obviously. While she did some work on that, I was able to move on to the sketches. I put her email address up here now with the correct spelling. So anyone needs anything, feel free to contact her when it comes to suits and Mego-style stuff. So this shows a lot of the base joints for the feet and then for the weapons themselves. Once I had done a pass on that and printed it out, I was able to mount it on the suit that she had made, which is unbelievable. It's really nice, really clean. And I was able to get the whole figure together, but after looking at Kronos and doing a comparison, there was something lacking in terms of like detail and silhouette. So I went back and sort of looked at what was there. I did another sculpt of the head and made some changes there. I added a belt, I added a collar, and I added these little sort of nobules that went over the body. And once I had that version printed out, I knew that was the correct version for me to go with. Just had more detail, had more personality. The head had been softened. The other one was kind of threatening, this one felt more like Membros, the small scale figure. And once I had that done, I was able to attach all the different nobules to the body, and it just looked far more interesting. This is a look at the Space Glider suits themselves when they came out from Ember. Basically I wanted to do any sort of variant that was shown for these figures because they were shown in blue and green. This is me doing the backpack test with the wings to making sure they articulate and move, and then getting the components necessary to test out whether or not the helmet fit on correctly, doing a paint pass to match the colors of the suits. That's one thing that is very time consuming. I'm like doing exact color matching, and then finally the blue version I photographed. And I wanted to show this scene because I wanted to show the setup for how this was done. This is the poster I created once I had all the figures, but in reality it's really just 2 plastic gaming boards with 2 desk lamps covered in blue and red tissue and a black backdrop. And with the colored lighting, it really pushes it pretty far. So I just wanted to show how simple that is to construct. Side work. This is an update on the Gore figure that was done for White Elephant. I showed in the earlier videos. So at this point, Jason from White Elephant has gotten back the prototype for Gorgon, King of the Terrans, and I wanted to show what that looked like from the factory's point of view. This also contains some of the extra weapons that I'd done that I hadn't shown any versions of, and it's just really cool to see them in their final form. It came out great. So I thank you for your time and for watching, and let me know if you want to see anything in the future.